Okay, welcome everyone to Chart's free webinar series. Today we have Jessica Schock from Inspire Brands, Communications Manager, presenting on leveraging your LinkedIn profile. Welcome, Jessica, sorry.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining. So I do want to make it clear, I am from Inspire. I'm not from LinkedIn, but I love LinkedIn as a platform. So I'm often asked for best tips, and I was asked to come and present on this today. So it's really going to be focused on you as an individual versus as a company trying to use LinkedIn. And of course, we'll have time at the end for questions. So this is what I'm going to cover today. It's all about how to best utilize LinkedIn for yourself and how to grow your career with it. So let's talk about building your LinkedIn profile. So I'm assuming everyone here has a LinkedIn profile. If you do, or even if you don't, your email, really be careful with what you're sharing because it's auto-populated in LinkedIn, the email that you've actually signed up with. And you might have it set so that people can see your email and reach out to you. I always tell folks, definitely use a personal email, but it should still be professional. So something with your name. Don't do dates, don't do numbers, keep it clean, and be purposeful with what you're signing up with. And the first thing you should do when you create your LinkedIn profile is actually update your URL. I've got a big red arrow over there for it. When you create a LinkedIn account, it's kind of like any other social media platform, right? You actually have the @ symbol, you've got a handle, people know to come and find you by this username. LinkedIn doesn't have usernames. They have your names, they have your job title. They're using all of the wonderful things you're putting into your profile to properly pull you up and find you for any colleagues or recruiters looking for you. But your URL is something that you can edit. You can see that I've got mine very, very simple, Jessica-Schock. I've seen some people, unfortunately, it's 2023. If your name has been taken, add your middle initial, do something, add Mr. Mrs. at the top, but just don't allow there to be a lot of numbers. There's a lot of folks these days who expect to see that LinkedIn URL at the very top of a resume or a cover letter, and it's great to hyperlink. People can follow it and go check you out on LinkedIn, and it looks a little like there's not as much attention to detail if it's busy with a lot of numbers and it's not as clean, because you have that really easy way to edit it. So moving right along, talking about what's the purpose of LinkedIn, right? I get a lot of people asking me that. They're like, I'm sending a resume anyway. Why would I be worried about building out a profile on a LinkedIn account? So if you look at a resume, it's really going to give you all of these options, right? You're going to have your name, location, about, maybe objective if you want to have it, work experience, education, skills, languages, in whatever order you want to have it in. Maybe you've got volunteer on there. LinkedIn gives you a space for everything else. Like, it is really a wonderful spot to go look at all these great things I've ever done. And really, if you're someone who doesn't like social media, doesn't really want to be active, definitely still build a LinkedIn profile, and you can kind of set it and forget it by filling all of these things out. And we're going to get into a lot of these. But I also tell people, when you are looking at a resume, a recruiter or hiring manager, they're really only going to look at your resume for about 7 seconds. Think about your LinkedIn profile with all of those wonderful things that it can let you build in. Think of it as an elevator pitch, like you're stuck on the elevator with someone, or they're stuck with you. And it's somebody you realize, oh, they're at this company and I know that they're hiring for X. And you really want to impress this person and leave a mark and hand off your business card. And you've only got those 20 to 30 seconds to do it. Your LinkedIn profile, it's giving you so much more than 20 to 30 seconds, and it's everything you could say anyway. But with that in mind, make sure when you're building out your profile, and whatever you put on LinkedIn should all be going back into what I call your career narrative. So it's kind of like dress for the job you want, not the job you have. You want to put in your profile and everything that you're posting what you want to achieve, right? It should be everything you're doing now and that big goal you want to have, your big career growth that you want to have. So really consider what makes sense for you, not just as a current employee, but as a future leader. What do you want to show off? What makes sense for a recruiter to come to your page and go, oh, they're who I want to have for this job? What makes sense for you? So when you're building out your career narrative, LinkedIn is just like every other social media platform. It's incredibly visual. It didn't used to be. I've been using it for, as of next year, like 10 years now. And it's really grown, it's stepped up, it's much more visual. But it really all starts with that headshot, right? It's your first impression virtually. So I always tell folks, be careful with what you want your headshot to be, not like a scary, be careful, but really consider, again, how is this adding to my career narrative? How is it tying together? What am I trying to show off here? So Chris is someone I worked with at Disney, and he's fantastic. I love Chris. And this is probably still my favorite headshot that I've ever seen someone post. So if you look at Chris, he's got a really nice blue name tag. That is the Disney cast member name tag. Everyone has one, but they're all white. Chris has a navy blue one. This signifies that he has won the Walt Disney Legacy Award. And even now he's down in Orlando. He's still growing his career in hospitality. And he really wanted to show off this milestone. So he got this wonderful headshot taken. Again, he's got the blue legacy name tag. He's wearing dark navy blue to match it. He's wearing a darker color, and it fits against the much lighter background of the Epcot ball. So all the Disney fans know that. And of course, all of his Disney colleagues know that. And Disney recruiters and other theme park and themed entertainment and hospitality recruiters will probably know that too. So he's saying a lot in this little headshot. And it's just a very clean headshot too. I love it. And think about too, when you're trying to figure out your own headshot, don't dismiss things like the details of the color, right? Think about color theory. Blue, especially navy blue, is said to evoke a lot of feelings of loyalty and intellect. So really consider that when you're trying to get, that perfect headshot that makes sense for you. So let's say you've built out your profile, you've got your nice headshot, you've got your job title in there, you've got your current job, you've got all your work history, you've got anything else you want to add, your education. How do you appear on LinkedIn? This is how. It used to be that you popped up in a list and it was a name, title, where you worked, and a really, really tiny headshot of you so that people could know, oh, this is who I'm looking for, and click into your profile. Like I said, LinkedIn's got a lot more visual now. So now it's doing a little snap bite of you. It will actually show your name, your headline, which we'll get into in a second. It'll, for example, here, allow you to either message or connect. These are both contacts that I have actually connected with on LinkedIn. So it's allowing me to message directly, or I can view their full profile. And down below, just if I needed a little bit more to know I'm talking to the right person, it's giving me the latest post that they made. So it's showing off a lot. So this is how you're appearing to people when they search for you. The green dot as well is showing that these folks are online. So maybe they have the app pulled up on their phone. Maybe they have it up in a browser on their computer, but it's really giving you a really nice look. And I consider these successful search examples because you've got really clean headshots. But more than that, if you look at their headline, this is not an auto-populated thing saying, oh, this is this manager of X company. That is editable, just like the URL is. So Summer, she edited hers to be driving franchise development at Inspire Brand. She's telling us what she does and where she works. And then Damien says, a teacher and a learner in it for the purpose. It's a bit more broad, but it's also still telling recruiters probably exactly what they want to know. So over here, I have what I consider less successful, still good, just less successful search examples. So you can see Hope, she is someone I worked with at Home Depot. She's a communications manager, comma, the Home Depot Foundation, and then it trails off. It's got the ... It's too long for a headline. She also has repeated herself. Already, we know what her job title is because it's going to be built into her work experience in her profile. That will come up. If she doesn't need to have it in her headline, if somebody searches Hope Jensen or even Hope Home Depot Atlanta, she's probably going to pop up anyway, and she could have a totally different headline because she's got that information in her profile. So don't repeat yourself here is what I'm saying. Don't waste the space. And then Taylor, he's got a lot of good buzzwords that are really searchable, but there's just so much going on. It also goes off the page. So when you're looking at how to make yourself stand out in that search, something LinkedIn hasn't quite caught up to yet. They don't have a section to show off your certifications. They do have it down really far down in your profile, but a lot of folks are adding the nice abbreviation for a certification on their resume, in their cover letter, on their business cards. So the workaround here is literally just go to edit your name, add a comma, and then the abbreviation. And I started doing this years ago. I've started seeing more people do it more often. It's just a great way to make yourself stand out when recruiters are searching on LinkedIn. And then my bonus, I don't actually use this, but a lot more people are starting to. LinkedIn introduced hashtags, I think about 2 years ago, and they're very searchable. So if you're talking about very specific things, it's a good use to make yourself more searchable, again, for those recruiters, for your colleagues, or even just people in your industry. Maybe they're trying to build up their own LinkedIn. They're like, I want to follow people who are talking about this. And if you're using that hashtag, you might be one of them that gets followed. So now that we've looked at the snap bite, right, where we see how you appear when someone searches you, let's look at your profile appearance. So again, you're building that career narrative. Every piece of this needs to make sense. So we've already talked about your headshot, but we haven't talked about your background photo. So that's another thing LinkedIn has introduced to be more visual. They're like, oh, you get a fancy little background now. You need to make sure it ties together with the headshot you've already uploaded. So Ashley is a great example. I love her example because she isn't doing anything company related. It's not anything specific. It's just a really pretty splash of paint strokes. And the blue she's chosen fits really well with the blue that she's wearing. It's that simple. And also, we already said, darker blue evokes feelings of loyalty. So that's a really good color to walk into in an interview, but also to have on your profile. And if you're kind of like, oh, I don't really have access to pretty pictures, Pixabay.com. I've got that. Don't waste it. Pixabay.com on the slide. It's a bunch of free images. You can download them at different sizes. It is like my go-to. It's great. So your about section, we talked about the little headline. Now we're talking about the bigger about section that is actually, it would be right underneath this connect message, right? So this is what I call the muscle behind your headline. So again, don't waste the space. Don't repeat yourself. This is a way for you to really go, hey, somebody's taken that couple of seconds to look at your profile. Maybe it's a recruiter who's just scrolling. They're like, all right, what does this person do? That's your moment, the about section. So I have some really easy tips for that. One, if you're a young professional, just make it a paragraph. I know you're getting overwhelmed. You're like, how do I stand out? Do not do a book. Don't do a laundry list. Don't do, 6 paragraphs. Just do the one. Say where you're going to school, what you're working toward, and, something like, I am pursuing a career in X. And then the rest that you're building out should support that about section. If you're mid-level, if you've been in the game, if in your industry for quite a few years, and you consider yourself like a mid-level manager, mid-level leader, I say 1 to 4 paragraphs. And the reason for this, you might want to say, hey, I'm X doing X with this organization, with this BRG or ARG. And you might list your education so they don't have to scroll forever to see it. But then also it's just a great spot for you to say, I am this person who has invested my time in this industry or this career or this company. And then executive, it's funny, it kind of like follows the young professionals like a circle. If you're an executive, again, your profile should speak for itself. You've got a lot of experience. You have probably a lot of really, really good content. So instead, your paragraph should really be basically, I'm X doing X, and something about where your passions lie. So these are successful about examples. You can see the biggest example, it's kind of breaking my own rules, but if you look at it, it's still easy to consume. It's at a glance, you might skip over that top paragraph, but then you've got a line. Then you have actual contacts if you're trying to reach out to her. And then you've got all those nice little buzzwords broken up by the bullets. And then she's got a cute little quote at the bottom. So it wraps it up very nicely. It's still very scannable, very digestible. The 2 other examples that are a bit smaller, the 1 paragraph, they're perfect. They're doing exactly what they need to do. They're short and sweet. And then at the bottom here, this is something I'm seeing a lot more of, where people are starting to use emojis in their about section. So the main takeaway here, 1, you can use emojis if you want. I don't, maybe one day. But it's becoming so much more common to do the I language. I used to have an about section that was using the Jessica Shock kind of language. But now it's a lot more about action. It's a lot more about you yourself are speaking. What do you have to say? What do you think is important? So even if someone else is writing your about section, make sure it's that I language. It's very, very common, and it's kind of the acceptable. Now it's not that it's looked down on if you do the third person, but it's just so much better to do the I on this social media platform. So here's a less successful about example. If you get through the first two paragraphs, you'll get to the third, which is really the meat of it. This is a student of the University of Florida. They do not need all this stuff. This could have been done in just a few sentences, but I do like at the end the way they've listed languages and website. They just didn't need everything. And unfortunately, people will stop reading because it's so much. And then I've picked on everyone else. Here's my about example. It's super simple. I'm like, hey, I'm X. This is how many years of experience I have. Here's my previous experience. It's kind of a laundry list, which is why I have it broken up. And then I say, I'm actually educated. You don't have to scroll for it. Here you go. So very, very simple, very clean. So let's get into the profile and how those should look as far as like successful profile examples using that nice background shot. So Maxwell here, he works for IAPA. You can see that's why IAPA is listed to the right. It's actually your latest workplace or current. And then you've also got your latest place of study, which for him is UCF. And he's got the nice IAPA background. I love the speaker podium. It makes it looks like he's about to go and speak, which is great. He himself, it's a very simple headshot, but he's wearing that purple color that fits with the brightness of his background. So it's perfect here. And then Whitney, this is a good example of taking yourself to Canva or Adobe and making something really simple. She's got this outdoor headshot that's very clean, very pretty, and she's using also a nice bright color for her background, and she's got her logo. She's added some words there. I know immediately she's an HR person. Looks good. Over here, Rachel, I love hers because it's so simple. I almost bet you she found this on Pixabay. She found something that matched color-wise with what she was wearing. She's got that beautiful Disney carousel. You can tell that she works for Disney just by the photo. And again, that's a nice bright pop of yellow. Her own blazer is like this beautiful, like red, purple, and she's got those colors in the top. It's leading your eye. It's all fitting together. Here's a less successful example. I love Mike. I worked with him when I was at Home Depot, and he is in social media. So it's really funny to me that he's just not giving LinkedIn his time. So if you look here, this is what it looks like when you don't add a background photo. He could add a background photo. He just hasn't. But his headshot is great. He's wearing an apron. It shows he's at Home Depot, which makes sense with what's populating for where he works. All right, so this is kind of a bonus, and I've only seen this on maybe 3 profiles, but again, LinkedIn wants to be very, very visual. They're introducing new things. They've introduced a profile video. So you can see here, I've got a video moving, and this is Ellie, and you can see when you find her and you go into her profile, it starts playing automatically. There's no sound, but if you click into it, it starts playing, and it's this very nice introduction video. I think at max, it's 30 seconds. So if you wanted to, you could create this. I have yet to have anyone tell me that they have. No one has taken me up on it. No one's done it. Even I haven't done it. So the silver lining here is if you do it, you're going to stand out. So establishing your network. Now that we've talked about building your profile, how do you actually connect with people on LinkedIn? So I call this the basics. This is a question I get a lot. People are saying, okay, I want to connect with someone, but I see there's also an option to follow. Or maybe you only see the option to follow. You're like, where's the connect button? If there's a follow, here's what's happening. You're either trying to connect with an influencer. They already have such a large amount of connections that LinkedIn itself is automatically going, yeah, let's kind of hide the connect button. People probably just want to follow anyway. They're trying to make it for ease of use for the user. Or this person is so outside of your network that they think, oh no, you don't know them. We're going to hide the button on you because you don't need to connect with them because we don't want to annoy them with requests from people that don't know them. If you want to connect with somebody, you just click the more and you're going to see connect down below. I always tell people if you're connecting, you want to be strategic. We're actually going to jump to this slide for this really quick. If you connect with someone on a browser, it will pop up, do you want to send a note? This is even if they're outside of your network. If it's somebody you just Googled and you found their profile, it's going to ask you, send a note. Yes, always send a note, always say where you know them from, why you want to connect with them, whatever makes sense. If you do this through the app, it does not give you the option to send a note. It's not even going to prompt you. It's just going to go, great, I've sent the connection, which sucks. Don't waste the message that you can send. Jumping back to this one really quick, if you do just want to follow somebody, maybe they share really, really good content and you're like, I don't want to get rejected from a connect, I just want to follow, you can do that. And just like with other social media platforms, you can click on the bell so that you get notifications when they actually post new stuff. So let's say that you're trying to expand your network, you're trying to find people. This happens a lot for me at work. I'll look someone up on LinkedIn and it's showing me that they don't have a profile picture. And of course, my first thought is, oh no, what are they doing? They don't have a profile picture. That's not what's happening. LinkedIn is actually, because they think they're so far outside of your network, they are showing that this person, they're like hiding details basically. So they're showing, oh, you don't even need to worry about this. This is someone that you don't want to connect with because you don't know them. What are you doing? But of course, you're like, oh, I met this person at a networking event. I want to connect with them. I think this is them. So in that case, again, definitely go through the browser, send a personal note. But what's probably happening is that LinkedIn has automatically set their profile settings to be, oh, only these people are going to see your headshot. So I always tell everyone, please, please, please make sure this isn't happening to you. It can really make it harder for recruiters to find you. It can make it harder for, potential hiring managers to find you. So just set it so that all LinkedIn members can see your profile picture. So when you are reaching out to folks, there's a couple different levels of this. The easiest one is what I call the colleague. This is somebody that you've worked with. Maybe you've gone to school together. Maybe you did a passion project together. Either way, you should easily be able to connect with them. You're probably in the same industry, and on their profile, you're going to see something like this. In the highlights section, this is unique to you. If you go to their profile because you're looking to connect, it will tell you, oh, you're part of this organization together. Oh, you're part of this, alma mater. You've worked at this company together. It's going to give you, it's going to prompt you. And part of that is the algorithm that will make it easier for you to connect with them than just having to do the follow or search for the connect button. So when you're doing this, I always tell people, if you're connecting with a colleague, offer to write them a recommendation. This really hasn't picked up a lot of speed yet. A lot of people don't use the recommendation feature on LinkedIn, but I think they should, because whenever I have an intern, I usually write them a recommendation on their LinkedIn profile. They're always excited to get it. And I've had interns reach back out to me in the future and say, hey, can I copy and paste what you had written and use it to apply to this job or get this scholarship or this fellowship? And of course, I'm like, absolutely. If they had asked me then, maybe a year after we had worked together, I'm like, I don't know if I would have remembered what to say about them, but I've got it on LinkedIn and they do too, and they know they can reach out. So that's always nice to offer to a colleague. So the follow-up is another section. The follow-up is where maybe you have someone you saw speak at an event, or you met somebody in the elevator, or you're trying to expand your own network. Maybe you work in one industry, this person works in another, and you have something that can make it so that you can reach out and say, hey, we have this in common. Would you like to connect? So again, this should be the whole connect, send a message, do it through the browser. And then the cold call is the hardest. This one is what always stresses people out. And with this, there's an easy way to make it easier on yourself. So I always recommend people, I'm like, look, you can go anonymous on LinkedIn. The thing that some new users don't quite understand is that whenever you view someone's profile, they're going to get an alert that says this person has viewed your profile. That's great because it's going to make them, if they want to, click in and look at your profile. Or you could be looking at their profile a lot and they're getting a lot of alerts and it's getting weird. So instead, go anonymous first. You can actually set it up so that all they get is a notification saying someone has viewed your profile. This allows you to look through and see if there is anything you guys have in common. Maybe you have an interest that's in their about section. Maybe it's a project they've worked on. I literally had this happen where I've gone through a haunted house at Universal and then I find out the guy who made the t-shirt for it is on LinkedIn. And I'm like, wow, let me connect. I'm doing a message. I loved your artwork. I would love to follow you for future projects. And I get an accepted, and that's great. It's expanding my network in weird ways. So if you're trying to do that, go anonymous for a second, go check it out, and then put yourself back out of anonymous and properly connect and message. So to do anonymous, if you want to, I've got another little video here. It's super simple. You're just going to go to settings, visibility, profile viewing options, and you're going to make yourself anonymous. Here's the trick though. It didn't used to be this way, but LinkedIn has realized the power of anonymous viewing. And now if you're in anonymous mode, LinkedIn will actually hide everyone who's looking at your profile. They don't want you to be anonymous because it kind of ruins the whole effect of giving people alerts that they're getting their profile viewed. So that kind of hurts because you're like, oh, somebody viewed me from this company, but I can't access it because I was in anonymous mode. So try not to be in anonymous mode if you can help it. If you want to be anonymous, you can. It's totally up to you. So let's talk about your news feed. Let's say that you have connected with people and you want to connect with more. You want to log into LinkedIn and see cool stuff. That is why I love the platform. That's why I've been using it for almost a decade. I cannot log into any other social media site and see what I can see on LinkedIn. I can jump into LinkedIn and immediately I'm seeing people do fun behind the scenes on attractions. I just recently saw a walkthrough of the Haunted Mansion parlor on the latest Disney cruise ship. That is what I find really interesting. I loved storytelling and themed entertainment, and LinkedIn is where I get to keep up with that stuff. So make sure that again, your profile, your career narrative, your network, it all makes sense for what you want LinkedIn to be for you. So within charts in the hospitality industry and food and beverage, there's a lot to see. Your LinkedIn lets you see stuff not just from the company perspective or the influencer perspective, it's letting you see stuff from the people perspective. And that's why I love it so much. So the more you connect, the more great stuff you're going to see. You can also, I hate to say it like this, but you can keep up with some news on LinkedIn. I'm one of those people against getting all your news from social media, but LinkedIn is one of the better sources for it. They actually have this nice little thing populated in the right-hand corner of your screen when you log in, and it's called LinkedIn News, and they are curating top headlines. I love how LinkedIn does it because they will actually do something like this big picture on the left. They'll say, hey, should CEOs speak out on war? I've also seen, candy supply causing issues, like whatever is happening in the world, it might be on LinkedIn. They might be talking about it because they're seeing that their users are talking about it. And once you see LinkedIn's little readout, you can keep scrolling and you can see what people are actually saying. Again, LinkedIn is using its own algorithm to feed in, hey, if you follow this viewpoint, you can follow this person. If you need a better perspective, these people are saying these things. And you can see there's very different perspectives on the screen. And it's got that nice little plus follow. So it allows you to expand your network. Maybe you're not connecting, but you're following, you're getting a better news feed going. And there's been a lot of times that I read LinkedIn news and then walked into a meeting and they're talking about exactly what I just read about on LinkedIn. And I can raise my hand and say, oh, well, I saw this person said this and this person said this. And it's a great new perspective you may not have had. So as far as your newsfeed goes, when you're trying to expand it, a really easy way to do that is to follow the prompts that LinkedIn gives you. It's going on your profile. It's going to tell you, hey, people also viewed these folks, and these people that are in mine that I've screenshotted here, these are people that I work with every single day. That's why I'm connected first with all of them. So it's helpful if you've just joined a company. It really gives you the people you need to start connecting with. People you may know from your current company, that's another section in your profile that can help you just expand. There's a lot of people in the field that I've never met that I found this way through LinkedIn that work at my company. And then you might like, these are branding companies to follow, which can help you then find more people to follow. So your news feed, be a part of the conversation. Don't just, get everyone else's content and be a viewer. You should post. You should post your wins. You should post the fun stuff that you're doing at work. You should give the sneak peeks that no one else can see. You really have to join the conversation. I implore every single one of you to do it. We want to see what's going on in your neck of the woods. We want to know, okay, what does it really mean to work at this company? Like LinkedIn doesn't work unless people are posting. So resharing relevant posts, this is a really easy way to share things, right? So you have an example over here, Taco Bell, the company posted something, and then Kelly, who is the chief people officer, reposted it. And she had something really nice to say about it. And from here, hopefully it's empowering other team members or associates, whatever they call them, other employees to share as well. Like that's really what LinkedIn is all about. What was your opinion on this? Was your team a part of it? What do you have to say about it? So growing your career, now that you've set up your profile, you've expanded your network, you've got your headshot really, really nice, you should have what they call an all-star profile. And that's like LinkedIn's little back end monitoring system. Like, great, you filled everything in. This means that the SEO, the search engine optimization, is at its optimal performance to properly be putting you in top results when recruiters, hiring managers, colleagues, whatever is searching on LinkedIn. So it's great because it also propels analytics for you as a user. So on your profile page, it'll actually populate your profile views, your post impressions, and how many times you appeared in searches that week. And I love it because it even says private to you. So you don't have to worry about other people comparing or benchmarking against you. It's just letting you know, hey, it is worthwhile to be on LinkedIn. Look at how well it's working. So as far as your language goes, this is back to what we were originally talking about with your headline. Don't repeat yourself, like I said, don't waste the space. But I've had a lot of people come to me and ask, okay, you're saying I need to have a punchy headline. What does that mean and how do I do it? This is kind of a formula that I came up with. It's super simple. You can probably create something even better. But if you just need something basic, I tell people do an active verb, so some kind of action, plus target audience, plus your passion or expertise. So I help companies prevent self-inflicted crises. I love this. This is a crisis comms consultant. It's perfect, like just exceptional. I was like, yes, I love this. And it's kind of funny, right? I've also seen Queen Maker, executive coach. She made a point to say executive coach. Basically, she's a life coach, a career coach. But the Queen Maker really sets her up to show I'm specifically focused on helping women get into more executive roles, which is great. Do not fall victim to buzzwords. Please don't. Use language that makes sense, that's clean and clear. So another thing you can do on your profile, if you want to get that fancy, you can pin your posts. So basically that means it's going to be your profile picture, a little bit of info about you, your about section, and then that's where the featured is if you want to utilize it. Otherwise, it never shows up. So for this, you can actually take posts that people have made about you or that you yourself have made, and you can add them to permanently be placed on your profile so that the recruiters or whoever are not scrolling forever to find your projects at the very bottom. They're seeing posts. And it's very, very nice to kind of show off your personality, what you're working on. Maybe you've got a project, a passion project that you've worked on and you want to put it somewhere, but nowhere really makes sense. You can put it here in your featured. You can also put a portfolio here in your featured. I get a lot of questions about recruiters. They're like, okay, are recruiters really using LinkedIn? Yes, absolutely. They are. 77% of recruiters regularly use LinkedIn. They love it. That's why LinkedIn is still around and it's so successful. They have set it up so that it is so easy for a recruiter to jump in and their feed is just filled with potential candidates. They know where you work, they know what you're doing, they know what your interests are, and they're looking to fill a role with the best candidate available. And usually that's a candidate on LinkedIn. So here, really quick, it used to be simpler. There used to be a button for finding a new job. Now it's add a goal. You can add a goal, you can find a new job that way, and it will prompt you and ask you, do you just want it to be visible to recruiters or to everyone? If you're looking for a role while you're still at your current company, just make it recruiters. All right, and then LinkedIn Premium. This is another question I get a lot. Should I pay for LinkedIn? My answer is no. I have yet to find anything that I don't have a workaround to or have access to that I would want to pay for. LinkedIn attempts to tell you that if you pay for LinkedIn Premium, you get to see all of the people in anonymous view. That's incorrect. I got LinkedIn Premium one time for that just to see if it would work. And LinkedIn says, oh, we want to protect the privacy of our other users. You cannot undo an anonymous view. So don't fall for it. In my opinion, it's not worth it. And that is my presentation. I know I went really, really fast. So if you have any questions, I'm here.
Okay, so sorry, it took me a second to get off mute. Jessica, that was excellent. Really, really good. All stuff I'm taking notes on, and it's because this is being recorded, I will be going back to watch it over again. But if anyone has any questions, you can send them in the chat. I have just a couple here so far. The first one is, should we always use anonymous viewing? I guess you sort of addressed that, but
Yeah, I've had questions about that. And I will say there's a lot of people who get stressed and love anonymous viewing. They feel like it's a practice run for viewing a profile, especially of like an executive, before they properly go and they know they're sending the alert and then they're clicking the connect and the message. But I've also heard success stories where if you don't use anonymous viewing and you've alerted someone that you viewed their profile, they might actually reach out to you then or send you a connection request. So it's completely up in the air. It's whatever you feel most comfortable with.
okay. The second one is how early should people start using LinkedIn as far as students, young professionals?
Yeah, so LinkedIn actually has a rule I found out quite recently that you have to be 16 years or older to even have an account, which is great because only professionals should be using it. Maybe you've gotten a first job, maybe you're starting an internship, so you could start that early. I don't suggest it. But I do tell college students you want to make a LinkedIn now because you can connect with those people in your classrooms. You can connect with your professors. You can start going to networking events. The sooner you have a LinkedIn account to start building your network, the better.
Okay, next one. And questions were coming in. Oh, here we go. Q&A. Anyone who did try to use the chat, by the way, it was disabled. I just re-enabled it. So the questions that are coming into Q&A are the ones I'm reading now, but you can also use chat. Next one is, I feel like my contacts are getting out of control and I have a lot of people I don't actually know. What do you recommend?
That's hard, right? Because it's not like a Facebook where things are really informal. I would encourage you to start leaning more heavily on the follow. If you're just connecting with people for the content, you might want to weed it out a little bit. But LinkedIn does have a cap. That is the only thing I'd be worried about is, are you going to keep being able to connect with folks? If you reach the cap, no, you're going to have to delete some people. But if it makes you uncomfortable and you're like, this is too many, I would just follow and start removing connections.
Okay, and the last question I have so far, unless anyone else is going to use chat now that I turned it back on, is in LinkedIn Jobs better than other sites, Indeed or Monster?
I think so. It's funny because probably 5 or so years ago, it used to be LinkedIn had an app and then they had a LinkedIn Jobs app. And when they finally got rid of the Jobs app and moved everything over to LinkedIn just completely, it was so much easier. LinkedIn Jobs is great. I will tell you from my perspective at Inspire, I am somebody who has access, admin level access to our LinkedIn account. You'd be surprised how much LinkedIn is sharing with employers. Like we can see, oh, you've changed your profile. You used to work here and now you work here. It will literally tell you, hey, you've brought an employee over from this company, which is very, very helpful. But also for users, it's just, it's really, really great to, to properly just keep up with everything. Like, yes, it's a fantastic tool for that.
And are I know that some people have said that there are the LinkedIn Jobs when they're going to post a resume on there. Sometimes it looks like there's been hundreds and hundreds of people that have already applied for that job. Is that a deterrent to using it?
So there's a statistic that if you do not apply to a job within the first 48 hours, or I think it's the first 200 applications, you're probably not going to get that job. So it's very helpful that they offer that right away. I wouldn't use it as a deterrent, but you might work a little bit harder if you see that kind of number. What you can do, because LinkedIn is so great, it's so connected, you can try to find the recruiter. You can literally type in the job title and look for posts and see if any users are sharing it saying, my team is hiring. I see that a lot. And you can reach out, you can send a direct message, you can try to connect, whatever makes sense. But yeah, like apply. Don't be scared to not apply.
What do you recommend for frequency of engaging in LinkedIn? I avoid social media, so getting back in can be it can be hard.
Yeah, I will say that if you're posting once a week, you're ahead of the pack. A lot of people are not posting as often as they should, but your posts don't have to be big, crazy things. You don't need big, beautiful photos. It could just be that your company made an announcement and you want to share the announcement and say, yay, like whatever. You can also, if you see that a colleague has posted something, you can do an emoji reaction now. I think they have like 5 prompts for that. Used to be you couldn't even like a post. So now you can comment, and that will actually show up in your activity on your profile and show that you're active and say, this person said this to this colleague's thing. So it doesn't have to be a big production, and really it's whatever you want to post when you want to post it.
And the last question I have is from someone asked if you will be able to share the deck. I know this has been recorded and it'll be all in the video on the website. I don't know if sharing the deck was a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's great. I'd be happy to share the deck.
Okay, but then we will probably add that to the recording as on a link on the recording, which will be posted maybe tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica. This was really hugely helpful.
Perfect. I'm glad.
Bye, everyone.